G'day everyone, my name's Cautious Pancake and today we're going to build a base that I've wanted to do for quite a while, and that's Zombie Plinko. Starting with a base walkthrough, and as you can see it's not the smallest of builds. I've put the main fighting area up at 12 blocks, so there's no issues with rage mode, and the zombie platform is a little lower at about 8 blocks, but that extra height always adds a bit of extra resource. You can go lower though and save on the build cost, but that will trade the build cost for repair needed after each horde. The zombies make their way around the bottom of the base and then up this ramp. It's well supported and the ramps are spaced away from each other, so there's no issues with the zombies getting stuck and destroying the ramp. Once we get to the top, you can see we have this extra landing here, which was actually a failed part of the design, but I'll come back to that part later. Once on the top, the zombies will now head along this path and out onto these quarter block pillars. While they are simple for us to stand on, the smaller size and jumps combined make the zombies slowly but not immediately fall off. The intent is that the zombies will spread out and fall down all the way along here. We don't want them falling off all at the same point. The final blocks on the end are set up to almost guarantee that the zombies will fall. These are my usual half plates rotated opposite each other to create the biggest gap possible. From up top you can see the pillars that the zombies will fall down and bounce off as they fall down to the bottom. It's important to note that the reason the zombies will want to walk all the way up to the top and across those quarter blocks is that this is the only path that they think they have to us. Due to the raised combat platform, the zombies have to come up the top, across the front, and then down this spiral staircase to get to us. Without that path being constructed, the zombies won't try and climb or get to us, so if you're looking to do a similar build, make sure there's a valid path the whole way. Once at the bottom of the staircase, if the zombies made it all the way over, the zombies can walk around and into the bottom section, where those that fell down the Plinko board will also have landed. This section is designed to look like the bottom of one of those carnival games, with the clowns and the table tennis balls. Anyway, the zombies land here and hit the first of these trigger plates that are set up for every row. This triggers the dart traps down the end to fire for 5 seconds, while the zombies run down the row. The trigger plate is also connected in sequence to the next plate at the end of the row, which also fires the same dart traps, but this time for as long as the plate is activated. The zombies are held here as well by the electric fence running up and through the plate, so that each row has its own fence. That should mean that we don't need to repair them during the horde. If they do make it through the fence and the dart traps, there's a series of half plate blocks set up to make the zombies fall down and repeat the loop over and over. The zombies will try and cross the plates because they want to get through the white railing and up through the base to us. Off to the side, we have these elevated walkways to take us to the engine rooms. There's one on each side which power all of the trigger plates, fences and dart traps. The walkways are made of zombie force field blocks so that they don't try and get into our base this way. Heading back inside, here's our wall of dart traps. Access to the engine room to the other side, and ramp up to the fighting area. There's a couple of lights inside as well that let us know that the SMG turrets on the roof are powered, and I've left the room open so that there's better visibility, but you could of course close it off for a bit more protection. Alright, so we're ready to kick off Horde Night. We've got no kills, and the base evaluation level 113 set, with 186 441 XP to the next level. It's a little off due to the books that I read after setting up. Speaking of books and skills, I've got my standard skills set, with extra points this time into Perception and Deadeye, as the zombies are a fair distance away, so I'm running with a sniper rifle. Strength, Fortitude and Agility are all standard, and I've also put extra points into Intellect, which is maxed, and Advanced Engineering, so that we can get as much XP from the traps as possible, plus some points into Electrocutioner for the melee weapon backup. I've taken the set of sniper books, and 600 rounds of high power ammo, with 600 rounds of normal ammo as backup, but I don't think it'll be needed. Alright, just waiting for the horde to show up. Have a quick sneaky down here, doesn't look like anybody's down the bottom. So that should mean they're all, tracking up there. Let's see who's going to fall first. There he goes. All the way down the bottom. A couple will get stuck on the way down, that's going to happen. You can see we've got the lights on the front, which I didn't mention on the walkthrough. They're also hooked up to the trigger plates and let us know when zombies are going to be coming down. So that 5-second first trigger plate will let us know that we've got zombies coming down that we might need to take care of. We're running the usual insane difficulty, nightmare run speed sort of settings with 64 zombies. And as you can see, it's a fairly relaxed sort of opening. It's just the higher health zombies that tend to make it through, the ferals, in particular the cops. Once the radiators start coming through, here comes the fog. That'll make it hard to see. Not that we're planning on attacking any up the top, but it's nice to see them fall. See that 5-second burst of dart trap. Darts tend to take care of most of the zombies. It's just the high health ones that make it through, which is sort of what I was going for. My thinking is that the lower health ones with 400 XP, when they're taken care of by the dart trap, should just mean more zombies come through. And we can hopefully get more kills through the Horde Night. I think overall it's pretty relaxed, so maybe a little too relaxed with the long path up, as well as the falls and the jumps. It's slowing the zombies down, so we're probably not going to set any XP records with this base, but it's a bit of fun anyway. Probably the worst bit is it distracts from watching the zombies fall down and go plonk 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 all the way down. That was kind of the point, but we focused more on the lights and the combat. See, most of the time they're getting killed before I even get a shot off. Except for the rads, there we go. And when they get pushed around the corner there, they're just out of range of the dart traps, so take them out manually. Oh, a lot of the lanes firing now. That's good, that's what we want. Spreads out means that it's not concentrated on a single lane, which means that the darts can then only hit a single zombie at a time. This way, because it distributes them out over all of the lanes, it means that we can get more traps active at once, which will hopefully lead to more kills and more XP. That's the end of Horde Night. Now it's just time to do a bit of cleanup towards the end. The last sort of 64 zombies that are alive. Knock these over. Still got demos coming, which is still a little bit too tall for the setup that we've got there. All the other zombies are fine, it's just the demos. Even though we've got the block with the slope on it, they're just a little bit too tall. We had to use that block so that the lights would sit on it nicely. Given that they don't actually do a lot and that the zombies lighting up from the electric fence kind of makes that redundant. Think about removing that in any future builds that we do based on this design. The row of blocks above are still good though. They hold up the electric fences and provide a bit of protection. But not only that, they block the cops from being able to see us as they run down the rows, which means that we don't tend to get cops spit the whole time as they move towards us. Only once they hit the fences can they sort of spit at us, but then they're being shocked anyway, so they tend to not spit too much at that time. Alright, time to rip through the cleanup. We'll see what we've got once we get to the other end in terms of kills and experience. Okay, just bringing up. It looks like we've got 231 kills, which seems kind of low, but maybe that's the right number. Just have to double check whether or not that includes trap kills. And we've got to level 115, so 2 levels up, with 153,598 left to the next level. So next, we just want to look at ammo used. You can see we didn't use the full 600 rounds of high power ammo. And heading downstairs, we can have a look at the dart traps. Given how few of them were firing towards the end of the Horde Night, my guess is that most of them will be pretty empty. They only had a single stack of 500 darts in each, so I won't be surprised to see that that's been used up. What we might do next is get started with the repairs, and I'll bring up the stats on base cost, XP used, and repair cost. Actually, before that, let's go back to the fail landing, and here's what the original intent looked like. The idea was to use powered doors and trigger plates to change the paths available to the zombies by opening the door after each zombie goes through, and leaving it open for about 10 seconds, forcing the zombies to take one of the other paths available. They could then still head out to the front, and I used the half plates all the way along, to force the zombies to fall almost immediately, as the powered doors were handling the distribution of zombies and spreading them out over the wall. The landing then came into the picture when the zombies fell through the doors, so they didn't have to run all the way back up from the ground, and could quickly return to the top. The problem with this approach though was that it was always a bit hit and miss for if the zombies would see this as a valid path at all. Sometimes it would work, sometimes it would need me to destroy a block on the path, and that would then wake them up and make them realise that there was a valid path there. I'm not sure what the cause was, but I had to abandon this approach, as more often than not I was left with a pile of zombies clustered under the base like this. Another alternative that you may have thought of for this base is to replace the pegs with blade traps. I was really hoping that this approach would result in massive zombie carnage and fling them all over the place, but unfortunately the zombies mostly fall past them, and even when they do hit, it just doesn't do much damage or anything spectacular. So finally, let's talk results. For XP gain, we ended up getting a total of 406,425 XP, with what the game says is 231 kills. However, for that XP gain, it would mean that every zombie was worth 1,759 XP on average, which is impossible since the highest rad XP I can think of is 1,500. On top of that, I was getting half XP for trap kills, so I think it's safe to assume that the kill count isn't including trap kills. For ammo cost, it used 460 rounds of the high power 7.62, although I should have arguably used a mix of AP and high power. The dart trap usage though, well, that was 14,382 darts, which is pretty up there, especially given that we only had a single stack of darts in each trap and ran out before the end of the Horde Night. So I might need to think about making the traps more of a support than directly killing all the zombies like it did. And for repair cost, it was actually pretty good, with just 134 concrete needed, with 11 mechanical parts, 26 electrical parts, and 33 forged iron, mostly from the electric fence repairs. Finally, the build cost was a little crazy, as this base is made up of 3,196 concrete blocks, as well as all of the electronics. Overall, that was a fun base to make, with XP gained less than our control base from the base evaluation video. But interestingly, given the slow pace of shooting, there's plenty of room to improve on this concept by increasing the amount of direct combat. Darts are still a very cheap option for boosting DPS, but can be wasteful. Unfortunately, we're not able to compare the zombies killed due to the trap kills not being tracked. The build cost is very high, at 207,476, but given the majority of the base is there to facilitate the Plinko board fall, and that plays absolutely no part other than perhaps a teeny bit of fall damage, I think it's safe to say that I'll revisit this concept, but change things around for hopefully a more efficient and effective base in the future. Ammo cost was also higher than the control base, due to the almost 15,000 darts fired, and finally on a positive note, the repair cost came in much lower, due to the lack of cop and demo explosions. So there's my zombie Plinko base. I hope you've enjoyed watching. If so, please hit the like button as you fall down through the pegs, and if you'd like to see more Horde based videos, please subscribe and come back for the next one. As always, thanks for watching, and happy building. Oh, and when you're doing walkthroughs of base designs, don't forget to turn off the power.